Hi, my name is Gustaf Broms. I'm based in Sweden, in the forest, a couple of hours north of Stockholm. I've been here about 20 years now, but also spent a lot of my childhood in this area, so feel very familiar in the forest around here. I started out working with photography, and after a few years, I got frustrated with the two dimensions. So, in an act of desperation, I made a big bonfire, and on winter solstice, I burnt all my work. And by doing this, I realized something of the power of the action, and that was what took me down this road that I'm still traveling today. It was something of the feeling the power of the doing, as opposed to looking at the ash of all of that work that went into making those two-dimensional images, as opposed to this simplicity of making this gesture. And it felt a lot stronger for me to work in that way. If I'm forced to describe what I do, I tend to say something like I work in the borderlands between performance, video, and installation. And it is my favorite format when I have the opportunity to work like that, where I can work long and slow, and it tends to be the action becomes a dialogue with the moving image, and the traces of the action becomes like an installation. So it constantly gives me these possibilities to reconnect with what's happening and ask another question or take it another way, that it becomes a very open-ended process like that. Being asked to talk about the difference between theater and performance art, I tend to think of what we do is its own language, it's its own authority, and it should not be described by words. So all I can say is the classic definition. People would say that performance is the real, where theater is the representation of the real. So you remove yourself one step from it. But I always find that we live in such a word-based time and society that we neglect the other languages. And I dedicated my life to work with something that is mostly visually based, and I find that it's better to stick to that and focus on that, and not getting involved in these. To me, these conversations become intellectual games in a way, and it just distracts me from focusing on what I think I should be focusing on. I thought of us spending time together in May, that it would be interesting to look at the body as language in a wider sense, not just in performance, but of course we keep that reference as well, but also thinking of protests on the street, how they tend to be really body-based language, and also of course ritual, that I find it's perhaps maybe a beginning of language for our species. So I thought we'd kind of look at that and have a discussion around that. Much looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.